Today, I have a very special guest, a channeler, a spiritual teacher, and a metaphysical mama who has been a huge influence in my spiritual awakening and is an inspiration to thousands of other souls all around the world. So, welcome, Jamie, and thank you for being on my show.
Thank you so much, Emma. I love being here. Thanks for inviting me.
You're very, very welcome. So I really wanted to just kind of have a chat, medium to medium, and talk to you about channeling and about being a medium or a spiritual translator or whatever label you want to stick on it. Because, if you really think about it, they're just labels. Because I believe that all of us, every single entity on this planet, are always connected to source energy, and we're always communicating with our higher selves and our spiritual teams, and it's just about getting into that healthier vibrational place physically, mentally, and energetically, and really getting rid of all the muck, getting rid of all the false beliefs and the restrictional thinking patterns that we are imprinted with by different sources, outside sources outside of ourselves as we grow up, and as we evolve in this human lifetime. So we can raise that awareness of the self and really make those spiritual connections part of our daily conversations, because that's kind of what it became for me. They became part of my family, and so I'm communicating to them on a day-to-day basis. And I also just wanted to show to people that we all channel in our own unique way, and that we have to start resonating with our own energetic frequency and our own flow, and just resonate with our own truths in order to get it clear in this unfiltered spiritual communication. So let's start with discovering your connection with spirit. I believe for you, it started at a very young age. So
Right.
let's talk about that. How did your awareness of spirit start?
It wasn't an awareness of spirit. It was just a continuation of having friend or family present. So I didn't know it was quite different until I was much older and I had time to look back and say, I can see where my parents were like, this isn't working for us. We need to change it. And I can understand now why they called it my imagination. So as an adult, with that experience behind me, if we're talking candidly to other people who are getting in touch with their psychic ability, mediumship ability, like you said, call it whatever you want. Mm-hmm. It's all going to be a label, but just connect to it authentically the way that you want. It is what I've noticed, getting in touch with how you're communicating to it, whether that's your spoken language, whether that's your emotional language, emotional intelligence, whether it's an energetic bond, but let's find out how you connect to it. So I didn't really have like a big aha moment when it first started to happen to me, because I didn't know it was not natural. Uh-huh. That's air quotes if you're not watching, not natural. It feels very natural. So
yeah, you were basically born without the amnesia. It was part of who you were, and you probably thought everybody else was seeing them too.
I thought everybody else saw what I saw, heard what I heard, knew what I knew. I thought everybody else saw the clown buttons on people, the rainbow button, chakras. I thought everybody else saw the colors around the trees and the crayons and, the car, and it's not true. They weren't. And by that time, as a kid, I was 6 years old when my parents were just like, this is getting out of hand. It's kind of consuming who you are. We need you to pull back on that and say goodbye to it. They actually set up a time frame. They're like, okay, we're going to say goodbye, hug them. They're not getting in the car with us. They're not leaving with us. They were very upset. It was devastating for someone like me. This is the first time I'm experiencing loneliness. It's the first time I've been separated from that natural ability and told that I have to now live a life without those skills. And so between 6 and 18, it really showed up in little aha moments, dream, knowing, but I shut down my feelings. It was scary to be alone, especially alone at night. alone, in my own thoughts, not recognizing, that my community wasn't there. So it's uneasy. And after I turned 18 and moved out of the house, went to college, it all started to creep back up. So it was as if guides and spirit and energy held that boundary that my parents needed in place. So it was really respectful. But as soon as they were out of my life and I was independent, they were coming back in and going, hey, we know you can see us. Hey, pay attention to me. Hey, listen to this. Wholly overwhelming. Thinking I was nutso, crazy, insane. I mean, it as you know, it is real. This is not some imaginary thing that we're pretending to have. It is a real life, tangible sense. So I had to reassess everything, learn how to manage it, which took years. People. It was not an overnight sensation. Yay! I've been doing this kind of work now for 27 years publicly.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Time flies by, I'm telling you.
Oh my God.
You can tell. And it seems to be going faster lately. It might just be my perception of it, but I have this silly notion that is time speeding up.
I believe it is.
I think things are changing, and it's just like, I don't know, the days seem shorter than they used to be. My mom's always like, nah, you're just getting older. The time seems shorter then. But I'm like, I don't know. I just have this feeling. It's just a feeling that I have that things are changing, and we're just kind of being thrown in it and just kind of go with it.
Do you think, I feel like the earth has a different heartbeat right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's slower, almost like a lullaby. Now we're almost like a foxtrot, and our heartbeat's a little bit faster, and we're kind of all keeping up with that. But of course, our internet, social media, our instant reward systems that we have, you order something online, it's delivered the next day or same day. It's like we're feeding ourselves this speed and telling ourselves that we have to keep up with it, or else we're lazy and we're not worthy and we're not doing our jobs good enough. And I think it's going to come to a head. It's just going to crash, the speed that's coming together. And we're going to find our new pace, get back to the lullaby, get back to the ma and pop, get back to being more authentic and living a whole life rather than this competitive feeling. If we're speaking candid, before we got on and started recording, we were kind of chatting about hearing a lot from both of our communities, people who want to be a medium or want to be in this world similar to the way we are. And you had mentioned, there are millions, billions of people in this world. There's enough for everyone. There doesn't need to be competition here. And I think this speed of moving forward kind of feeds that sense of, I've got to be number one, I got to be better than the other person. And it is a competition. And I have, in this last year, 2018, it's really hitting hard that no, I'm not going to feed that anymore. I'm exhausted by people who want to compete. And so I haven't done it for a long time myself. But when others are coming in, I have been saying no and bowing out and looking for an all-inclusive community. And it feels like you're coming across the same thing.
Yeah, I think, and this might sound nutty, but this is just what I'm feeling is that, Mother Earth is saying, you guys need to slow down. You guys need to get on a different pace. But society is going boom, 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 full blast. And so we're being pulled in two. We have this natural pull towards, our environment, towards Mother Earth's energy, who's very caring about us and who's like, come on, go with me, go with my flow. And then you have society who's going, no, speed up. You better get shit in order or you're going to run out of time, and so you have this massive competition between mediums and it's like, why is this necessary? Because we really are just all here for the same purpose, and that is to help everyone be able to channel and connect to their source and find that peace and that balance within themselves. That's why we're here. And so there's no need for competition in unfortunately mediums who are driven by that competitive feeling. That's really ego ego bound, I think. It's really about being afraid of, somebody else taking away their business and taking away their income, or I don't know what it is. I don't feel that. So it's kind of hard for me to get into that state of mind, because I'm really about teaching. I really, when I ask my husband, who am I? He goes, you're a teacher. I've been teaching my whole life. I taught my parents when I was a little girl. I was teaching them, hey, you guys need to get along. I've been teaching my family and my husband and my colleagues and everybody I ever knew. I was teaching them how to find happiness, how to deal with certain situations. And I didn't realize that until I was like in my 30s. But I started to look back and go, hey, wait a minute. I've been trying to, I was, and sorry, mom and dad, but I was the parent at the house. And, when they were fighting and they were arguing, because we had a really tough childhood, there was a lot of financial struggles and things like that. They were always at each other, and I would, as a 6, 7-year-old, I would come in between and go, you in that corner, you in there, you're gonna sit, you're gonna stop. I've always been that, and to this day my mom says, you're my teacher. So I'm teaching them about spirituality and enlightenment and things like that. So I'm always teaching, and that's why we're here. We're not here to make the most money or to be the best. I mean, you're here to be the best you that you can be.
Yes.
But it's not a competition, okay? There cannot be a competition if your only purpose in life is to be the best you. There is nobody else but you. So why this competition? It's just kind of hard for me to comprehend that.
Yes, it's very true. I agree. It sounds like you're using the teaching aspect of it to balance that lullaby heartbeat of the earth, and then the society's quick beat as well, which I so appreciate that. I'm on similar thread. I love teaching. I love showing people what I've experienced and what I've learned. And my favorite thing to witness in this lifetime is somebody who wakes up, whether it's to an idea, a concept, an aha moment, a belief system, and their little light goes, like it just blows up a little bit. Oh, I get so excited. I'm like, yes. I like walk around the room like I've won a game show or something. So
yeah, it just gives you a good feeling too when you finally, I get these emails after reading several months to several years later, and they go, just this one reading, you changed my life. My entire perspective on what I was doing, on where I was going, on what I was expressing has completely changed, just because of how their spirits were explaining it to them. Hey, this is what's going on. This is what you might want to do if you want to go in that direction. And it's just a lot of fun to see that if people apply what spirit tells them, what they're giving as information, as teachings, your life can completely turn around. But it's about, you do have to make the step. This is your journey, it's your reality, you create it, and you do have to make that leap and say, you know what, I'm taking responsibility. I am in some way or form, subconsciously or consciously, attracting these things. And if I change, and if I love myself, and if I respect myself, then I will attract more of that abundance. And it's that step. But it's so much fun when you do get validation, or you do see that thing in their mind, you see their face and they go, yeah, she's got it, I can see it, that's going to change her life, just that thing, just getting it. Because I also think that sometimes a lot of people understand a lot intellectually, but applying it, owning it, embodying that knowledge, that's the hard bit. And once you do, you never want to go back. That's what I've experienced for me as I've been growing.
Yes, to all those heady viewers out there right now, you know who you are, the ones who have to analyze everything, pro and con, good and bad, put judgments on things just to organize it properly, compare, contrast. That's you. You're the person. And it's a little difficult, challenging to take your head knowledge and put it into emotional intelligence, which is more of a easier centered place to come from when we're dealing with subtle light energy, communicating with spirits, being a medium, being a channel. Coming from the heart intelligence is easier. I'm not saying it's better, just saying it's easier. And so for those out there who know you're heavy, grab pen and paper and start documenting, bullet point, all of your aha moments, all of your pings, all of your I think or I guess, or lucky things or coincidence things. Those are very logical terms for very intuitive experiences. And let your head start seeing how you're really capable and how you are doing this kind of work every single day. You're just using misplaced labels for what it is. And then let your head start supporting you and become a cheerleader rather than someone who goes, oh, I don't know what you're doing, but I think it's totally wrong. That's not right. Whereas in return, when you start to sense something, you have an aha moment, your head goes, oh, wait, I noticed this. We wrote it down a long time ago and you were really accurate. We've got to pay attention to this. And starts cheering you on, and you can add some of this skill to your natural everyday decision making. I just thought I'd throw that in because it's always fun to hear like tips and how other people work and everything. And we have a big spiritual, heady crowd. They're very much up here. They're not woo-woo whatsoever. They're like the scientist coming in. And they're like, I love this spiritual stuff. I love this energy, but how do I get into it? And I think that's a great, like, easy path to take is a little pen to paper exercise.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think it's great. And I think as we're evolving as human beings, we're kind of going back to how we originally started, I think, because it's all about feelings. And a lot of people ask me, and everybody connects in their own way. Everybody connects in their own way, people, okay? Jamie can tell you how she's going to connect then. But for me, everything is very emotional. So I'm very intuitive. I trust what I feel. And it's gotten to a point where, for me, I feel like I'm just a translator of frequencies. I feel like I'm just translating energy because for me, spirits communicate with frequencies. And I'm just kind of the radio picking up that signal. And, you know, if you dial on the knob, you get tuned into it, then you can translate it. And so for me, I can, and this sounds crazy, but I don't know how else to explain it, but I can feel colors. I can feel letters. I can feel numbers. You know, I even feel pictures. I had this reading once, and this lady was like, I'm going to use this picture of my son for a book. Is that okay for him? And she didn't have the picture with her to show me, so I was just explaining how I felt. And I said, I feel like there's beige in it with a blue background, and I feel puffiness on his shoulders. And so she showed me a picture later on, and with a blue background, he had a leather jacket on with a beige, very furry kind of, I don't know how that's called, the collar. And it made him poofy, you know, it made his shoulders all poofy. So I was like, I feel poofy, you know. You know, I can feel pictures. It's kind of weird, but it's what I do. And so for me, I translate their frequency into thoughts. It's my own thoughts. I don't hear voices. People think that I'm just a parrot and I hear a voice and I'm repeating word for word. I don't. I hear thoughts in my own voice. I see visualizations in my head, kind of like daydreaming. My eyes are open, but I see stuff move. Sometimes that's how they kind of show me where they are. They're, you know, in theory, I think they're just doing that to make me feel better because I know they're everywhere. Their energy's everywhere. They're not really in one location, but I can sense them around me. And so 90% of it for me is emotional. So how do you just see them visually with your eyes? And do you hear them as well?
Yeah, I see and I hear. So I do that, listen and repeat, the parrot.
Oh,
That's why I was like, that's me. And I'm so happy that you are sharing in such great detail how you work because, you know, our viewers, if you're interested in becoming psychic and medium and learning how to express it, you know, great examples right here, both doing the same work. so extremely different. And you're going to find the same with you when you get into it. You're not going to do it just like either one of us. It's very different for everybody. But yeah, I'm more the clairvoyant, the seer, and the clairaudient, the hearer. And my sensitive skills kind of come in last place. You know, unless it's like really big and heavy, I'm like, oh, I can feel that, and it's kind of spooky. Oh, you guys use your entire body and you feel stuff, and it's so real. Whereas for me, I think my safety net zone is that I'm seeing it over there and I'm hearing it out there, so I'm okay. You know, like, I think I developed that as a kid because adults, I could see them, my parents, and they could talk to me. And so I think I just translate that right into how I wanted the spirits to engage with me, and I kind of kept it.
Right. And, you know, and that's why I wanted to do the show, because I want to show people that you can have the same results and come from a completely different, you know, approach to it. And it really all depends on where your sensitivity lies, what is most comfortable for you, because it needs to resonate with you, you know, and it's about kind of finding, experimenting. I had to do experimenting. I tried different things to see what works best for me and what doesn't work so well. And, you know, again, just to show you the differences, you were kind of born into this without a filter, and it was just kind of your normal thing. For me, it happened very gradually. What I did notice was, as a very young child, that I noticed what I felt when I was around people didn't seem to match up with their body language. They'd be smiling and laughing and giggling, and I'd feel very sad and depressed inside. And I remember as a very young child, I think I was like 5 or 6, after the lady left, I would yank on my mom and say, why is she smiling when she's so sad? Like, my mom didn't get that. She was like, what are you talking about? She's fine. So, but for me, it didn't seem to match up, you know? So I noticed that I had these feelings. And as I grew older, they got stronger. I felt very connected to animals. Like I don't know, I had the feeling like I could hear them. And my mom was like, oh, that's cute, honey. But, you know, she didn't really understand. So for a very long time, I really felt kind of out of place, like I didn't really belong here. I've had that since I was born. Since I was wee little, I felt like, why does nobody seem to feel or understand what I'm trying to say here? I always felt misunderstood, and I always felt out of place. And then when I was 8 years old, my grandfather abused me sexually, and everything kind of got to a hold. It kind of, my focus was on kind of surviving that. Because, you know, I never told anyone. And so for a long time, it was solely on dealing with my fears that grew out of that, and everything else, you know, that was, you know, keeping up appearances and dying on the inside, dealing with that. And as I grew older, and I found myself again when I was about 22, 23, I found my own identity again. Everything that I felt before seemed enhanced, because now I was recognizing, because of all the emotions I went through with my grandfather and all of that, I recognized the feelings faster. I understood them. So I believe that all of that, you know, for me was just a way to really be able to tune into those emotions even more. So now when I had a reading with a lady, 65 years old, and her whole life was falling apart, and I kept seeing her as a little girl, 4 years old, something like that, being raped. And I was hesitant because it seemed so cruel what I was seeing, and I said, you were molested. And she just broke down in tears. She was 65 years old, had never told a soul. Not her husband, not her parents. Well, her parents knew about it. It was actually her parents who would loan her out for money to neighbors, and yeah. So this abuse lasted until she got out, until she ran. And not being able to deal with that abuse really destroyed everything she tried to build. And so I had one reading with her, just one, and just being able to see that somebody knew and helping her through that and having her spiritual team connect to her about that completely changed her life. She wrote me back a year ago and said, I have a new home. This is good. I have a new job, and things were rebuilding just by dealing with that trauma, by neutralizing that energy, just by communicating about it. And I was in awe of how powerful a reading really could be. That was my first, like, wow, because that lady was in such a bad place. And just one talk, and it completely changed her life. And, it's just amazing for me. So
It is. I can hear your excitement in it.
it's such a good thing, isn't it? It's such a good feeling when you get to help people and go, hey, you're okay. We're okay.
We're okay no matter what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Now again, we go back to that judgment of, oh, that happened to you. People might have a knee-jerk reaction. Here you are being brave enough to share about it in such a casual way, which I so appreciate that. I mean, I love the fact that you can bring it down to conversation, because no longer, this does not need to be swept under the rug. There are millions of people who have these experiences that feel like it's so shameful that it has to be hidden. And for you just to casually come forward with it, it's going to help many other people recognize how to talk about it themselves and identify that, guess what? You're okay. No matter what is happening, we are okay. It'd be great if we could start like a big campaign, the no judgment campaign, and kind of stop some of this cultural shaming and just ease up a little bit and really take on the definition of, we're emotional beings and we get to react, but we don't need to judge how we're reacting or how we're managing. But let's start being responsible for ourselves. I think that's what's so beautiful about becoming more sensitive to subtle light energy, because it holds a higher vibration. And I think your viewers might identify this, that when they get into this, they start having the aha moments and the enlightenment, they feel better, they hold more joy. And when we're holding more joy, we can't at the same time worry or at the same time be depressed or struggle. Because if we're joyful and the same struggle is coming at us, we're going to see it in a whole different structure and be able to address it with a smile on our face that's real. Not one of those like, I'm good, like the lady that you were talking about laughing and being sad on the inside. Oh my God, no. Let's get real, people.
I think for me, and I hear Spirit talk about that a lot. It's not about forgetting it. It's not about suppressing it. It's about accepting it and embracing it with joy and love, because,
yes.
it happens with purpose and intention. I don't believe that the universe allows us to undergo these things that we're not going to learn or grow from. So there's always intention and purpose behind everything. So if we can embrace it, and if we can understand that this lifetime, it's basically just a glimpse. It is just a temporary state of being. It is not who we are, but it's an expression of who we are. And if we can, embrace that, then we can tackle any difficult situation we can with love and with compassion for ourselves, but also for the others, for the people who are doing it to us. Because there's also, there's pain there, or there's intention there, or there's something there that was agreed upon, whatever it might be. That's really how I see it.
When is your book coming out? Come on, Emma. I don't know how all this information. When's it coming out? When are you going to publish it for us?
People have been asking me about a book and about my story, and because the rape is just a little bit of it. I went through so much depression and getting myself back up, and I did most of it. I did it by myself, and it's it's just, for me, I like to share. And it's just because life isn't perfect, and it's not supposed to be. Otherwise we could just stay home, It's supposed to have ups and downs, and it's supposed to have these challenges and these hurdles for us to, so we can overcome, and then we can rise above it, and we can raise that vibration, and we can grow and go, yeah, did that one, scratch that one off my list. However it might be, it's probably not like that once you cross over, but it's all about growth, and it's all about how we choose to um, experience our journey. Because yes, we can allow yourself to feel pain, allow yourself to feel grief, but don't get stuck in it. Allow it, experience it, and then you learn to grow above it. You learn to ascend that pain. And I think, and that's what I'm teaching now. I'm taking over the whole show here, but I'm giving classes right now on trying to evolve in these 4 spiritual development stages. And really the first one is victim stage, where we feel victimized by others, but also we victimize ourselves so much. And it's about forgiveness of yourself, of others. It's about understanding that we live in a friendly universe, that everything has purpose and intention, and to really start seeing your journey from a different perspective. And then from the victim consciousness, we grow into the manifestor consciousness, where we feel like we can guide our journey. I'm not saying control, I don't like that word. We can guide our energy so we can accomplish what we want to accomplish, what we want to experience. And then we go into channel consciousness and being consciousness. Anyway, that victim phase, anybody can get over it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. But it's about changing perspectives. It's about embracing and forgiving yourself, forgiving others. And it's really about looking at the world from a more compassionate state of being, than feeling like we're constantly being victimized or attacked, or they're forcing us to do this. Nobody's forcing you to feel anything but you. That's the reality.
That is the reality of it. And for the heady listeners out there, if listening to what Emma's saying, in my opinion, I would refer, if you're looking more into psychiatry, look into Carl Jung, Jungian theory. If you're more into the numbers game, I would look into the Enneagram. It has a lot of these, not really stereotypical, but archetypes and characteristics. And for those a little more woo-woo, dive deeper into the chakra system and the layers of energy, because it is comparable to what Emma's talking about, starting at the victim of that's very low energy vibration, so red root chakra energy for stability, caveman-like qualities, and then it just goes higher and higher. And there's so many wonderful books out there by many people. Rosalind Bernier likes to talk a lot about the history, Wheels of Life, and they go through the aging process of the person, how we are born in a higher vibrational experience, all-knowing. I saw that in my kids. They freaked me out. They knew so much stuff that I know I did not teach them. I had a controlled environment, and I had these 2 little beings telling me stuff that I know I didn't show them and that they didn't see anywhere else. And then they get taught out of it. They get indoctrinated into our culture, into our system, and it's like they get this reset button, and they start very dense, and then they start to evolve. And so I'm watching now kids that are coming in. They're not getting reset. They're coming in high vibrational, and it's almost rude. It's like they're flipping us off, going, F you, man. We're going to stay like this. You can eat that shit. I'm not going to do it. And it's like, my son is so forward with me. He's like, Mom, what do you think I am? I'm not doing that. And I had to go, okay, step back, because the parent voice comes into my head. And I'm like, but I'm the mom. I get to have authority, because that's how I was raised. And I hear him tell me, no. And I stop, and now I look at him in the eyes, which is weird. He's super tall. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm listening to you. Tell me how that is. And he goes, well, I want some respect from you. And I want you to see me for what I'm really doing. And this is a 13-year-old video game boy. And he's coming up with this language of like, let me own another. This is my life. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, won't you write that up for me? And we'll go into this more. And he was like, absolutely. and we had the most beautiful conversation. So for viewers who kind of don't have that experience at home with their little ones and want to know more, check out some of those themes that we mentioned. I normally have stuff behind me that I whip out, like.
Well, for me, being a mom, my two girls are autistic, so they really live their reality, and I'm just along for the ride. That's really how it is. And my oldest, she is so headstrong, and she knows what she wants, and you can sit her down in a punishment chair for a whole day. She is not going to change her mind. So we've kind of given up on that because, as a parent, you're raised like you're supposed to listen to me. I know better than you. That's how we're raised. And my kids are going, I don't think so. So I'm kind of like, okay, let's try and see it from her perspective, because my oldest is not verbal, so I kind of have to go through off on telepathy. We do really well with telepathy. I have a really good sense of what she wants just by her staring at me. So it's a good thing. But yeah, it's really about understanding that the new generations are coming in with this kind of awakening of, this is my journey and I picked it and I'm creating the reality, not you. And it's about sharing respect and sharing love. It's about putting the emphasis on that and say, okay, I respect your choice. I respect your decision. And but that also comes with dealing with the consequences for not listening to me. Then you have to take that responsibility with it as well. So,
but it's not like they're showing up defiant.
No.
They're not looking to be rude to us, and they're not looking to tear us down. They're looking at trying to go, stop right there. Your approach is not working with me. Let's try this way. And so they're really coming in like as a facilitator to change rather than like destroying it. It's crazy.
The way that I kind of feel it is like they're just saying, stop, you're interfering with my creation process. Please respect my own creation process, and I will respect yours. It's about finding mutual respect. And for people nowadays, we're not used to that. We're not used to, having children kind of go, no. No. And so it's forcing us to reevaluate the way that we teach children. It's forcing us to reevaluate the way that we are as parents. And there's a growing process there. So it might be painful and it might be confusing, but just trust in the process and just trust that we can learn as much from our children as they can learn from us. It's an equal exchange of information and intelligence, and we just need to embrace that with love and with compassion.
Yes. How old are your girls?
My youngest is 6 and my oldest is 8.
Oh, they're still little nuggets.
You're still little nuggets. My youngest's so cute though. She'll talk like there's no tomorrow, and then my oldest is completely silent. So I have yin and yang at home. They're completely different from one another, and they have this love-hate relationship, which is really fun to observe. They're both challenging me and my husband to really live in the now. Because, before your kids are born, you kind of have these ideas, they're going to grow up and they're going to get married and they're going to, have a fancy career. And when kind of the thing happens when they say autism, you're kind of like, okay, well, let's just take it one day at a time then and see what they can do and see where they grow and see what their possibilities are. They're very smart cookies, very intelligent, but they don't always have the right way, or they don't always have the way to express it in a way that other people can understand it. And it's really, for me, and for Gerald, it's a lesson of just unconditional love. It's a lesson of allowing them to evolve in their own pace. My youngest is 6, but she's still in diapers. She still hasn't made that connection. And forcing it doesn't help, not with them. So, like I said, it's their way or the highway. My daughter, my oldest, when she was 7 years old or 6 years old, We had finally given up after 5 years of potty training. We're like, I'm done. Just go on the potty whenever you're ready, girl. And we given up. And at 6 years old, all of a sudden she decided this is the day I'm going to do it. And she never stopped going on the toilet anymore. She just one day she decides. So we're hoping that'll happen with the youngest one too. She'll just decide I've had enough of the diapers now. Let's move on to the next. So that's what they're teaching me. And then there's so many. Autism has this big rise. And I know it's caused by, several metals that are being injected in us and through vaccines and things like that, because I'm in a study in Ghent where they're researching that. But again, everything happens with intention and purpose. And these kids are showing and teaching parents to live in the now, to let go of putting expectations and demands on our kids and to just embrace them as they are. And I think that's what they're all teaching us right now.
Oh, yes. And then we get to use it on ourselves. The expectations on ourselves.
Yep.
Right? Breathe and align more to the lullaby heartbeat that the earth used to have and kind of bring that all back, bring the community back.
It's, things are changing and I can feel that very strongly. And sometimes it frustrates me and sometimes I'm like, yeah, this feels like we're moving forward. So it's just with ups and downs. And I think a lot of people are feeling that change, but they don't always know how to deal with it. Is it me? Is there something, am I going depressed or is it something outside of me? But it's touch and go. And I think the best advice I have for everyone is to just kind of live in the now, take it one day at a time. That doesn't mean you can't have dreams. That doesn't mean you can't have ambition. Yeah, have that, create your reality, manifest it in every way of form you can, but try and enjoy your day today. There's so much that we have that we just look over. We just don't even notice what we have, and we have so much. So embrace and love what you have on a day-to-day basis. Know that your reality, your future is being created by you, and that you just need to be ready to receive and find that abundant feeling already right now, even if it doesn't, even if everything you want hasn't manifested yet, if you can already feel it, then you will attract it a lot quicker.
Very true. You guys are big feelers, and like Emma, I would start looking at the energy on your bed. To me, I think the bed itself is the sanctuary for all of us. We spend the most time there. We end up there and we deflate our ideas and we problem solve and we release our thoughts before we go to sleep. We dream there. We wake up and we decide what our day is going to be like there. And if we're not aware of what kind of energy is still resting in the mattress around the bed, we're not clearing it off and allowing it to be that neutral place. I mentioned the term neutral before. I like to call it the gray. It's not black or white, it's just the gray. So clear out the energy. You guys can get online and learn all kinds of energy removal techniques, whether it's crystal gritting, smoking it with sage or Palo Santo or cedarwood, or aromatherapy, or imagination, prayer, affirmation. Clean it up so that you can crawl into bed with fresh sheets and raise your awareness, whether it's clairvoyancy, audiency, cognizant, sensitive. Raise it up a little bit because it doesn't have to compete with anything once you start keeping it clean. And then we can start looking at developing it throughout the rest of your life and in those avenues, in relationship, at work, when you're in heavy decision making. Because this whole mediumship and psychic ability, it's not a call to. It's not a skill that you go, okay, now I'm going to use it. So I'm going to spin around 3 times. I'm going to touch my nose and I'm going to make it happen right now. It's not like that. It's like our sense of smell. We don't call on our sense of smell to start smelling. It just does. And sometimes we get really intense smells. We're like, what is that? Where's that coming from? And it just takes over. Sometimes we smell something pleasant and we go, this is so nice. We have a reaction to it. Our intuitive mediumship psychic abilities are just like our sense of smell. Mm-hmm. So to be able to honing in on it, let's look at the space where you spend most of your time, which is in your sanctuary, in your bed. Clear out the energy, raise your vibrations, and start your day with the notion, like you were just saying, you set your intent. You recognize that you can do it, and then it'll start showing up for you. And then, of course, the heady people in the paper take notes. So you can go back and see how really good you are at this, and your head can start cheering you on. And then you can start developing a language around it. I like nonviolent communication techniques or compassionate integrity language. We host classes like that here at the Center for Love and Light in Atlanta, Georgia. So if you're in the South or around here, come join us. It's wonderful. It gives us a way of communicating from an emotional sense rather than a triggered, wordy, ready approach, which I think is what we're trained to do at school, so we can be graded and we can be told if we're good at something or if we need help at something. Whereas when we're coming from emotional and we're coming from needs, there is no measuring stick going, I don't think your need is big enough. No. Or I don't think your need is fulfilled. I don't think so. No, because it only depends on you and how you are able to convey it. So it changes the whole approach and how you're using your energy and talking to somebody else. So I would look at NBC. We also have on the Lighter Side Network, which is the online network that I have. But the Lighter Side Show, we have a lot of compassionate classes and NBC lectures and things like that you can check out. But I just went down like a rambling hole. I'll get off my shoebox now. Just thinking of ways how to get it together.
Yeah, you're so right. And I think, so many people, and I think this is also a big problem. So many people will say, I want to be just like you. I want to be just like Jamie. I want to be just like Kim. And I tell people, no, be you, because you're already connected. You were never disconnected. It's not possible to be disconnected. It's just about remembering and enhancing the tools that you already possess. It's not about intellectually having to, it's not about studying it. It's about feeling it. It's about enhancing your intuitive sense. And for me, another thing that I hear a lot from Eric, he tells other people, is that for me, channeling happens very natural. It's the feelings are so massive. I start to go on automatic speaking. You got automatic writing. Eric says I do automatic speaking. Once I get in that flow, once I feel that energy of that entity coming in, and I just let loose, I go la 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 la, and I'll talk for hours. And all this information will pop up, and at the end of the session I won't even remember what he said because I'm not thinking about what I'm saying. I'm just talking. And so the channeling comes through me, and I think a lot of people are like, they're out there in heaven, so they're creating distance. They're creating this illusion that they need to make a phone call and say, hey, you over there, can you come over here and talk to me? And yes. The reality is they are already talking through you because their energy is part of your energy. We're part of the whole same thing. We're part of all that is. And so your soul, your spirit, whatever you want to call it, is already connected to all that is. So the information is already present. It's just about tapping into it through you instead of looking it outside of you. Does that kind of make sense?
Oh, totally. I could even almost substitute the words when you were saying creating, the distance. I could almost substitute the word creating as having a belief system. I believe that heaven is over there and not here. I believe that I have to get on the phone to talk to somebody. So we have to really look at hardcore belief systems about oneself, what they've been taught, and what they've really experienced. Because you're going to find, guys, it is different and it is eye-opening, and it might scare the crap out of you that you're learning all these things that aren't your real reality. They don't work for you, but you've been carrying them. And you guys might lose your marbles for a few days or a few months or a year of like, I can't believe I signed up for that and that's not really working. And and for that I say, find your community, find somebody who you can talk to, find a teacher, somebody who wants to empower you, not themselves. There's a difference in that kind of teaching. You're looking at healing you, so find someone who's going to be your cheerleader, not find a teacher who you have to give to.
That and be your own cheerleader as well.
Yeah.
Connect to people that you resonate with, connect to teachers that you resonate with. And when you get that feeling like you're talking to a friend, you're talking to a family member, when you get that cozy feeling like, oh my God, I could listen to this person for days, it's resonating with you. That means, that is something, you're being pushed in that direction with that person because that energy is melting with yours and it's going to create something beautiful. But you also have to become your own cheerleader. You have to become your biggest fan. And you have to love yourself and you have to respect yourself enough to make the changes so you can experience a lifetime where you feel comfortable, where you feel where you feel graceful and full of joy and full of peace and share that. Because when you're the best you and when you feel comfortable in your own body, other people benefit from that just for you being you. You don't have to do anything special to make, to show and prove to people, hey, I'm a good person. See what I'm doing? Just being you would already have a healing effect on the people around you. Your energy will heal them and help them raise their vibrational frequency. And that's the beauty of it. People think life is so complicated, but it's just about being you and being the best you that you can be and being good, feeling good about you and your journey and what you're doing and what you're, because when you're in a good place, when your vibration is positive, it is affecting all that is. It is affecting the collective in a very positive vibration. And you don't need to go to Africa and rescue rhinos, although that's a very noble thing, okay? But just you being in a good place and a good vibration is already affecting the collective energy of everyone. And I think that's really cool if you think about it. Every day, your thoughts, your feelings, your decision making, your actions are influencing all it is.
I really like this kind of collaboration. It's really wonderful to get around people who see it similar. I don't think we're ever going to find someone that sees it exactly the way you do, but the similar feeling, that is like 100% on point when we're talking about spirituality and energy. If you're connecting to someone who's similar, it's such a wonderful feeling, but it doesn't mean that the other people who aren't similar to you can't collaborate. Mm-hmm. And I know that sounds like acknowledging both sides of the coin at the same time, and yin and yang is both in first place, but it is like that. We just don't have the English language to support it. Where are these words? We need more words, people. Start creating them for us. Or start teaching them to me, because maybe I just don't know what they are.
Yeah, spirits always tell me that. They're like, well, when they have to give a certain explanation, they're like, but there's not really the right kind of words for it to just kind of express what we're trying to say, and then I'm like, well, when you go home, you'll figure it out.
Oh my goodness. What happened?
So, going back to channeling, do you still get nervous before every reading, having done it for so long?
Well, in my reading, yeah, I still get nervous. Are you kidding? I have officially today come out of sabbatical. I was going to take 3 years off, but I took 1 year off. Caught my breath, identified, what I want to go into, which is my network. I'm building that. So it gave me plenty of time to kind of get it off the ground. And I've really enjoyed producing content, getting people together, doing things like we have the Luma Summit that we did last year. This year, 2018, it's October 19th through the 21st. And we're bringing like 17 lecturers, teachers, healers together and creating a small community, like spiritual boot camp for the weekend. And I really love it. And now I've gone, okay, I've got my stride back. I'm now going to do readings again. And my stomach went, well, oh. I do. My heart rate beats a little faster, and I answer the phone or the Skype, and as soon as I hear the person's voice, I go, oh, hi, whoosh. Yep, this is who's here. This is what they look like. This is what they're saying. Oh my God, this is so exciting. I did a few readings this week. And at the end of one of them, I just said, thank you so much for allowing me to be with you in an intimate setting. Like I got it in a way that I don't think I vocalized in the last 27 years. And so it was good to have the break.
Mm-hmm.
So that's taking back off. But when I go to trance channel and let spirit in, I get the sweaty pits. I get really dry mouth, kind of like how you're supposed to go on stage. People get nervous when they go on stage. I don't really get nervous when I go on stage, but to trance channel, it's like, oh, what are they going to say? And I'm not going to be here to tell them to stop, or that they might be rude and I'm going to be polite. It's very ego human trying to put control over it. And every day I've got to unzip out of that. And then when I trance channel, I really have to unzip out of it. But then when it's over, I feel like I've won the lottery. I don't know what it's like with you, but I have so much energy, and I'm like, yes, let me go vacuum everybody's house. Let's go. I'm not going to sleep until like 1 a.m. unless I'm like eating chocolate or something to ground myself, and it's crazy. I really, really love the work.
For me, I get really nervous before every reading, and it's almost like a surrendering that I have to do. Like before I meditate just to get calm and kind of get into my flow, and then I communicate and I go, okay, guys, you guys can come in. I try to just kind of invite in whoever's connected to that person, and then I go to the bathroom about 5 times. Swear to God, man. My husband's like, yo, that toilet again. I get so nervous. It goes straight to the belly. And then when the Skype thingy rings, I get, okay. And then I go, okay, guys, you're on. I'm out of here. I basically surrender. And I go, okay, you're on. It's your responsibility. You guys make sure that whatever comes out of this mouth is going to help that person find enlightenment and peace and happiness and also on. And I kind of surrender to it. It's just kind of like a routine that I do. I'm like, screw it. It's up to you. And I get out of my own way, and then I click the button. And once I start talking, nerves are gone. I'm like, yeah, we're good. Okay. But it's like that moment before you're like, I hope something comes out.
Right.
I've never had nothing come out, but and then once I start talking and I start feeling different entities coming in, and they're all kind of feel different. They feel very unique to me. Then I'm like, okay, they're here. We're good. I start talking, and I just go with the flow from there. And when it comes to trance channeling, I've only done it a few times for an audience with Eric. And it's kind of fun. People would film it, and then I look at it, and I'm like, oh my God, what did he make me do?
I don't ever watch them.
People, he'll sit on top of people. He would be like touching me, and I was like, okay, I'm fine. You can touch me. Don't matter. It's just the body. But but it's kind of like you get embarrassed when you look at it, and you're like, oh God, did he really do that? And for me, probably because I'm not used to it, I do get drained afterwards. And although I ask them to kind of help me with my energy, I do still get drained. And I don't know, maybe you can give me some tips on that, because I sometimes do struggle with keeping my energy high, because I'm trying to balance out being a mom and being a wife with the career and channeling and teaching and life coaching and all of that, and I'm trying to find balance in that. And sometimes I do really good, and then sometimes I feel like I'm collapsing and I need to take like a week off just to kind of reboot. And I don't know if that I don't really get an answer about that. So I thought maybe if it's just the outside energy, the kind of collective energy that's kind of dropping and I'm feeling it, or if it's just really because I'm I'm probably doing too much. Trying to help as many people as I can. And, my husband always says, you can't save everyone. And I'm like, but I'm going to try, and so I do probably overwork too much. Do you have any
Yes,
tips on keeping balance?
I'd say it's a combo. Energy is changing greatly in the world around us, and it's presenting a lot more dense energy vibrations, which is a little bit more challenging to carry, and it can take or require more attention and more presence, which can give us this kind of draining feeling. That's like lifting 2-pound weights all day to lifting 25-pound weights all day. We get to a point where we can't do this anymore. But I like to recognize the person's energetic flow. We're all different. Some of us like to sleep in and we're a bit of a night owl. Some of us are early morning people. And then if we look at our whole week, we have a rhythm there too. Some of us like to do a bunch of stuff at the beginning of the week and less at the end of the week. And so you start acknowledging where you can hold heftier loads and do a lot of bulk thinking. And I would do my readings during that time. I'm great. I like my mornings. I'm a morning person. I roll out of bed and my face looks like this. It just goes. And my family just wants to go for me. They're like, stop. Oh my God. Why are you so happy? I'm like, the sun is up. And so, but as soon as
I'm the same way. I'm a morning person, and my husband's like, let me be. The problem is I would love to do all my readings in the morning, but 90% of the clients that I have are in a different time zone. And so you guys, it's like middle of the night when I get up. So it doesn't really work out. But that's so funny. That's so funny.
But Emmy, you have to decide, these are my work hours. And I have to do this the way my body can handle it. Because when I changed my schedule, I felt like dirt. I felt so bad because I wanted to provide for everybody. Because I was getting up sometimes at 4 a.m. and starting sessions at 4:30 a.m. for people in Japan. And, doing worldly things. And then I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. So I start my sessions at 8:30. And the bulk of my readings are done from 2 o'clock. Because when I hit 4 o'clock, I shut down. And I need a few hours to wrap up stuff. And then at 4 o'clock, I'm like, I get to go home and I get to be the mom, the cleaner, the maid, the cook, whatever, and do all those things too. So it helps.
Those human things,
It helps me to have that in a schedule. So I would look at where's your high energy moments, put the readings in there, and do your best to advocate not to do readings in those other time slots. Do your admin qualities, do your shopping, do your other tasks, and then that can help you balance out, and it'll keep you from burning out.
Yeah, and that's what I'm working on. So I was working on because Eric always warned me. He said, make sure you take care of you. Take care of you. And I said, yeah, I'm fine. And then, there was collapsing. But now I worked on a new schedule, so it should be easier for me starting next year to really, and I think that's it for everybody out there who wants to, or who is channeling, as a job full time. It's very important to see and feel what works for you, and to really make sure that you kind of stay in a good place and that you stay passionate about what you do, because when you get exhausted and the job becomes tiresome, you kind of lose that passion and you lose that spark, and it just becomes another drag to get through. It's so important to stay in that high vibration so you can get clear information in that's not filtered due to fatigue or draining or just being in a bad place. So for everybody who's channeling, I think how you are on your own, you need to be in a good place, and you need to take care of you, and you need to love yourself. And if you're always thinking dark and negative and judgmental, it's going to be really hard to really get clear information in, or to really open those, those connections up. So work on the self find balance and peace within yourself, work on forgiveness and love. And those connections will they will enhance, and you will surprise yourself on how fast you will get like, hey, wait a minute. Did I just hear that? Or did I just feel that? Or did I just see that? You know, it's not something that you need to study and memorize. It is something, it's a state of being. And that's the best words I can think of to kind of explain what being connected is. It's a state of being. It's being your natural state. That's really what it is.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, Jamie, thank you so much. This was such a great, inspiring conversation. I'm so grateful that you decided to join us today. And I just want to let everybody know the lightersidenetwork.com, if I got that correct. I'm going to put all the information at the end of the video, Jamie's website, the Lighter Side Network website, and her beautiful book that she wrote. And just really quick, the Lighter Side Network is a really cool thing because even if your budget is not big, you can subscribe for a day, you can subscribe for 3 days. So it's whatever you feel you can afford, you have access to all that beautiful information that Jamie shares with Maitland and Grace and everybody else in the network. So please check it out. Check out the website as well. And thank you. And I hope we can do this again. This was so inspirational.
I'd love it. I loved the conversation. Thank you for just letting it grow and flow and be organic. It was fun.
I'm all about flowing. So, all right. Love you.
Love you guys. Take care, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching.
Have a great day.
Bye.